Something has been moving through the collective field for weeks now. You felt it before you had a name for it. A low current of dread that arrives between 2 and 4 in the morning and sits on your chest without explaining itself. A sensation that something enormous is approaching, something that cannot be stopped and cannot be outrun, and that the world as you have known it is about to change in a way that no institution, no government, no official voice is equipped to prepare you for. The world calls that feeling anxiety. Your doctor may have already offered you something for it. Your family may have told you to stop watching certain things, stop reading certain things, stop listening to people like me. I want to say something to you before we go any further, clearly without qualification. That feeling is not anxiety. That is your nervous system registering the approach of something real, something that has been in the plan for longer than recorded history, and something the Pleiadian High Council has been transmitting specific guidance about for the last 30 days. The 3 days of darkness. You have heard those words. Maybe they arrived in a dream. Maybe you found them in a search at 2 in the morning when the dread was heaviest. And what you found, in almost every place you looked, was fear. Collapse. The end of everything familiar. I am here to tell you, with everything I have received and everything I have sat with, that what you found was the wrong translation. The Pleiadian High Council transmitted this to me specifically, and I am going to give it to you exactly as I received it. What is approaching is not a solar event. It is not a 3-day power failure. It is not the end of human civilization. What the Pleiadian Council calls the 3 days of darkness is a membrane event. The moment when the old frequency field that has been running this planet for thousands of years finally collapses, and before the new field locks in, there is a gap. 72 hours of gap. That gap is what they are calling the darkness. That is not destruction. That is a threshold. Think about what it feels like to stand in a doorway. 1 foot still in the room you have lived in your whole life. The other foot already in a room you have never seen. For one suspended moment, you belong to neither space. The light from the old room is behind you. The light from the new room has not yet found you. That moment of in-between. That is what the planet is crossing into. Not forever. 72 hours. And the Pleiadian Council has something specific to say about every one of them. But first, I need to name what your body has already been telling you. Because the symptoms that have been classified as problems are actually preparation. And that changes everything. Your left ear has been ringing. Not constantly. It comes in waves. A high-pitched tone, sometimes so precise it almost sounds like a signal. And it is. Your crown has been carrying a pressure that is not a headache. It sits too high, too diffuse, too unrelated to dehydration or sleep for that explanation to hold. You have been exhausted in a way that sleep does not touch. 8 hours down and you wake feeling like you never closed your eyes. And the crying, sudden, without an object. Emotion arriving with no story attached to it. Your family thinks something is wrong with you. Your doctor has a word for it. What your body is feeling is real. Every single signal. The Pleiadian Council is clear about this, and I want to say it plainly. Nothing is wrong with you. What your body is doing is preparation. The nervous system of a sensitive human being, a being who arrived on this planet carrying more frequency awareness than the average, does not wait for cosmic events to begin adjusting. It begins months in advance. What you have been experiencing since late last year is not malfunction. It is calibration. The left ear tone is a signal. Specifically, the left side receives the incoming frequency before the right, because the left hemisphere of the body governs intuitive processing. When that tone comes, it is not tinnitus. It is the arrival of a new band of frequency your system has not yet mapped. The crown pressure is the energy field above your head beginning to expand. Your energy field is literally changing its shape in preparation for the shift. The exhaustion that sleep cannot cure is not tiredness. It is your system running 2 operating systems simultaneously. You are carrying the old frequency and the new at the same time, and that is genuinely demanding work. If you have been carrying those signs, the tone, the crown pressure, the inexplicable fatigue, the grief with no address, There is a guide that gives every one of those signals a name and a function. What the Galactic Federation wants you to know, published through Stellar Command Portal, the link is in the first pinned comment below, walks through the 8 specific signs of active awakening with the precision your doctor never offered. Not vague reassurance, specific recognition. If what I have just named lives in your body, that guide was written for exactly where you are right now. Subscribe to Truth Frequency so the next transmission reaches you the moment it is released. And leave your name, your city, and one word in the comments below. One word that names what you have been carrying. Let the field know you are here. And now, I need to tell you what the Pleiadian Council says actually happens inside the human body during those 72 hours. Because what they describe is not what you have been told, not remotely. And once you hear it, you will not be afraid of the darkness again. The Pleiadian High Council, and Mira speaks for the Council of Seven in this, makes a distinction that the fear-based transmissions never make. They separate what happens to the unprepared from what happens to the prepared. Those are 2 entirely different experiences of the same 72 hours. The world talks about the 3 days of darkness, as if every human being will experience them identically. That is not accurate. Not according to what I have received. For those who arrive at the threshold with no awareness, no preparation, no understanding of what is occurring, the 72 hours will register as a crisis of the senses. The absence of the old frequency field will feel like something has been removed from underneath them. Like a table that was always there is suddenly gone, and they did not know they were leaning on it until the moment it disappeared. That disorientation is real. It is not dangerous, but it will be frightening for those who do not understand its source. For those who have been preparing, and the Pleiadian Council is specific about what preparation means, and I will give you all of it before this transmission closes, the 72 hours will feel different. Mira transmitted this directly, and I want to give you her words as closely as I can carry them. For those who hold their light, the darkness is not an absence. It is a clearing. Every frequency that has been running beneath conscious awareness. The low hum of fear that was installed before you were old enough to question it. The particular weight that certain public spaces carry. The invisible pressure that the system has been applying to human consciousness for longer than your recorded history. All of it goes quiet. For 72 hours, it is simply gone. That is the thing the fear-based transmissions never say. The darkness is not only the collapse of the light you can see, it is also the collapse of the darkness you have been breathing for your entire life without knowing it. The frequency suppression that has been running. The invisible force that keeps people distracted, small, unable to remember what they are. It requires the old field to function. When the old field drops, that suppression drops with it. For 72 hours, you will not be carrying someone else's fear, only your own light. But there is something the Pleiadian Council names with great care, a complication inside this crossing that almost no one is addressing, and it concerns the days immediately before the threshold. The symptoms you have been experiencing are not random. They have a sequence, and if you do not understand the sequence, you may mistake the final preparation signal for the thing itself, and you may respond in a way that costs you the crossing. I need to explain the sequence, because what I'm about to name is something that has been running in the field for the last 14 days, and it is specifically targeting the people who are most prepared to cross. Here is what I have come to understand after weeks of sitting with this transmission. There is a force, and I will not call it a name because the name matters less than the mechanism, that has a specific interest in preventing the prepared souls from crossing the threshold in their full capacity. The official record would call this paranoia. The Pleiadian Council calls it the oldest strategy in the suppression playbook, and once you understand how it works, you will recognize it immediately in your own recent experience. The mechanism is exhaustion before the crossing. In the 30 to 45 days preceding a major threshold event, the field around sensitive individuals is deliberately taxed, not with dramatic attacks, with the slow, relentless accumulation of small demands. The email that needs a response. The family member who chooses this specific season to go into crisis. The financial pressure that surfaces without apparent reason. the friendship that suddenly requires enormous emotional labor. These are not random. They are timed. The goal is to arrive at the threshold already depleted, so that when the 72 hours come, the prepared soul has no reserves left to hold their light through it. The way I understand this, and I want to be straight with you about what I think this means, is that you are being strategically tired before the most important crossing of your life. Not because you are weak, because you are strong enough to matter. The force that runs suppression does not expend effort on people who are not a threat to it. The fact that you are exhausted right now, specifically right now, is not evidence that you are losing the battle. It is evidence that something in the opposing field has noticed that you are about to win it. Mira speaks here with something that landed in my chest when I first received it. Beloved family of light, the ones who are most tired right now are the ones the crossing needs the most. You did not come this far to arrive depleted at the doorstep. The Council is transmitting restoration frequencies directly into the field for the next 21 days. You do not need to do anything to receive them except one thing. Stop spending your energy defending yourself to people who are not ready to understand you. Stop. That sentence. I had to sit with it for 2 days before I could say it aloud. Stop spending your energy defending what you know to people who are not yet ready to hear it. That is not abandonment. That is field protection. And that is not something the system, not the medical system, not the social system, not the family system that was built inside the old frequency, will ever validate for you. But the Pleiadian Council validates it completely. Your withdrawal is not antisocial behavior. It is strategic conservation of the most valuable resource you carry, your own light. There is more. The Council transmits something about the final 72 hours that changes the preparation entirely, something about what you must have in place before the membrane drops. And it is not what the fear-based versions of this prophecy have told you to stockpile. Something shifted in this transmission in the last few minutes. If you felt it, a warmth at the center of your chest, or a sudden pressure behind your eyes that came without warning, that was not coincidence. That was the Pleiadian Council stepping closer. They do not always announce themselves with words. Sometimes they arrive in the body first. Mira speaks now. Not through prophecy, through something older than prophecy. She says, "Beloved family of light, what you are about to hear is not instruction. It is remembrance. You already know everything we are about to name. We are simply giving your mind permission to catch up with what your heart has known since before this lifetime began. The preparation the fear-based versions tell you about involves physical supplies, food, water, candles, batteries, and I am not going to tell you those things are irrelevant. Practical preparation for any disruption is sensible, but the Pleiadian Council is specific. Those are the 3%. The 97% of what determines your experience of those 72 hours has nothing to do with what is in your pantry. It has everything to do with what is running in your field. Mira names 3 specific things that must be established before the membrane drops. The first is what she calls the light seal, not a ritual, not a complex practice, but a single, deliberate act performed before sleep for the 7 nights prior to the threshold. You close your eyes. You place one hand on your heart. You say aloud, not in your mind, but aloud, "I am held. I am the light I carry. Nothing that is not mine enters this field." 7 nights, that is all. The light seal does not need elaborate ceremony. It needs consistent intention. The second thing is what she calls the anchor person. One human being, one, who knows what you know, who carries what you carry, who will not require you to explain or defend the experience during those 72 hours. You do not need a group. You do not need a community of hundreds. You need one person who can sit with you, physically or through a voice on a phone, and say, "I know, I feel it too." If you do not have that person yet, and many of you watching this do not, the Pleiadian Council says this: "We are your anchor. Call us by name. We will answer before the word leaves your throat." The third thing is something Mira calls the mission statement of the crossing. A single sentence, your sentence. No one else can write it for you. That states why you are here for this moment. Not a vague aspiration. A specific declaration. I am here to hold the frequency of peace in my family line. I am here to bridge the gap between the world my children were born into and the world they will build. I am here because I carry something that this specific community needs someone to hold. One sentence, written by hand, kept on your body during the crossing. Here is the thing the Pleiadian Council says that I have not been able to get out of my mind since I received it. The 3 days of darkness are not the most difficult part of this transition. The most difficult part is the 72 hours immediately after the membrane seals, when the new field locks in. Because what happens in that sealing is this: everything that was running in you at the frequency of the old field will be surfaced. Every suppressed grief, every unexpressed truth, every place you agreed to be smaller than you are to make someone else comfortable. It all comes up, at once. That is not punishment. The Pleiadian Council is absolutely clear about this. That surfacing is the healing. It is the body completing what it has been unable to complete for years because the old frequency kept it sedated. Think about what it is like when a wound that has been suppressed finally has permission to drain. It is not comfortable, but it is the thing that precedes healing entirely. The new field does not suppress what the old field suppressed. It illuminates it. And illumination, when it arrives all at once, can feel catastrophic before it feels like freedom. What I feel strongly about, and I want to say this plainly, is that the people who are most afraid of the 3 days of darkness are afraid of the wrong thing. They are prepared for the 72 hours of gap. They are not prepared for the 72 hours after. That is the part that requires the preparation the Pleiadian Council has been transmitting. That is the part that requires the light seal, the anchor person, the mission statement. Not to survive the darkness, to hold your light through the dawn that comes after. The Pleiadian Council names something at the end of this transmission that I want you to carry. Mira says, there are souls on this planet right now who have been waiting 30, 40, 50 years to feel what they will feel in the 72 hours after the crossing. Souls who have spent their entire lifetimes carrying a knowing that no one around them shared, who woke at 3 in the morning with the weight of something they could not name, who sat in family rooms feeling like visitors from another country, who were told 1,000 different ways that what they felt and saw and knew was not real. She pauses, and then she says, it was always real, all of it. The crossing will prove it, not to the people around you, to you. You will feel for the first time in this lifetime that the world you have always known was there has finally arrived. If what this transmission has named is living in your body right now, the tiredness, the preparation symptoms, the knowing that something enormous is close, there is a guide that was built for exactly this moment. What the Galactic Federation wants you to know, from Stellar Command Portal, is in the first pinned comment below. It carries the 5 daily practices designed for this specific passage, including the Sovereignty Anchor, a 3-step field boundary protocol you can do in 3 minutes, anywhere, on any day between now and the crossing. It carries the 21-day activation calendar, a specific voice and direction for every morning of the 3 weeks ahead. It carries the chapter on the 3 types of lightworker: anchor, bridge, transmuter, which will tell you with precision and without sentimentality exactly what function you are here to serve during those 72 hours and after. Subscribe to Truth Frequency so the transmissions keep finding you. Put this in front of one person whose 3 in the morning has been looking like yours. Someone who needs to hear that what they are carrying has a name and a purpose. And leave your name, your city, and one word in the comments. One word that names what you are moving through right now in this body, in this season of your life. Say it. Write it. The field registers every word. And Mira and the Council of 7 are listening. You are not crossing this threshold alone. You never were. You never will be.